Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Equity Guys pre-market video. My name is Chirag, NISM certified technical analyst, and let's get into the view for today. Looking at how Nifty and Bank Nifty futures are trading, Nifty futures trading at a premium of 87 points, Bank Nifty futures trading at a premium of 151 points. So both are looking bullish over there in that aspect. Coming over to India VIX here again falling another 3.54. Yeah, looking at crude oil again, I think crude oil, yeah, is up almost 1% today, right? Oh my God. Looking at crude oil down almost 1% today. With crude oil being almost 1% down today, that is extremely positive news from an intraday perspective for the Indian markets. And from a long term perspective, it's also very positive because we are below that 6,500 levels, which is that pre COVID level. So, extremely positive data coming in from crude oil too. Moving over to GIF Nifty, we do see that there is a slight bit of gap down in GIF Nifty compared to Nifty futures. We do see about a 43-point gap down there, but there is a hammer on the daily time frame here. So let's see if we can recover from this gap down or not. That brings us back to gold and silver bees. Gold bees is up 0.35%, silver bees is up 0.90% there. So extremely positive data from gold and silver bees too. Looking over at the sectoral indices, in the sectoral indices we do see that all the key sectors such as our IT, bankex, auto, infrastructure, energy, industrials, all of those kind of sectors all towards the positive side. A little bit of industrials on the negative side here, but still key sectors like IT, bankex and auto doing extremely well. That is why we are seeing that move on the upside happening. And I do feel like once these sectors are moving up, all the other sectors to follow will be very easy over there. Moving over to our NSE data, we do see there are 1,600 advances and about 1,400 declines in the NSE data. We do see that the markets are closing up on the higher side. Stocks are closing on the positive side here, more positive than negative. So you are seeing that bullish data coming in from the NSE side of things. Looking in at the FII DII data, the FIIs are back in the cash market by a little bit, just by about 300 crores. DII is also in the market, so extremely positive data over there. Should be bullish in that nature, in that aspect over there. But looking at the FNO market, index futures, we see strong buying from the FIIs from the past couple of days in index futures, and in stock futures also we see a good amount of buying here. So from an intraday perspective, this is absolutely great. Cash market also, their presence is being sort of made a little bit, but then in index and stock futures we see a huge amount of presence here. So from an intraday perspective, we are looking extremely positive over here. Looking at the advanced decline ratios, we do see that there are 34 advances, 16 declines in Nifty, and we do see about a neutral 6 advances, 6 declines in Bank Nifty over here. So definitely positive data from Nifty 50, Bank Nifty bit neutral, but because of the banks, we can possibly see a swing to the upside because Nifty is doing extremely positive over here. Finally, coming over to the option chain over here, looking at the option chain on the left side, we have calls, and we do see buying in the money and selling it out of the money. And on the right side, we have puts. We have selling both in and out of the money here. So option chain definitely bullish in nature. So the option chain being bullish in nature over here, 25,400 and 25,350 seem to be two levels that the market can possibly take support at and possibly rebound from. Why I say these two levels are pretty important is because we also are facing a gap down. Looking at the gap down, it could possibly take support right at those levels because the gap down is also expected to be near those levels. Take support right at those levels and possibly move back up. So that's why those two levels are pretty important over there. So, moving on to the global indices, we do see extremely positive data coming in from the US. Dow Jones up, S&P 500 up, and Nasdaq up, all three up, especially Nasdaq up that 1%. That's going to be impacting us a good amount today. Looking at the European markets, they are also extremely up. DAX up by 1%, FTSE up by 0.21%, CAC up by 0.87%. So extremely bullish data coming from both US and Europe. And translating over to Nikkei is opened at and running at positive of 0.7473% there, and but unfortunately Kospi running at a negative of 0.47, but Nikkei running positive is definitely good news for the Indian markets over there. Looking at the Nikkei chart, we do see that gap up and it was moving up and down. And since we are seeing a gap down, we could possibly see an extremely positive up rally in the first half, and then, possibly it consolidating or coming back down a little bit. But because we do see a gap up and we do see that gap up almost sustaining, the gap is not fully filled over here. It gives you some positive indication for the Indian markets looking at how Nikkei was moving. So that is also something that we need to keep in mind. Moving on to Indian ADRs. Indian ADRs not looking too positive. Only thing here we see is make my trip seeing a little bit of buying here. Apart from that, all selling in Indian ADRs. So that once that also changes, we could see a positive up move, a rocket up move on the upside is what I think over here. Okay, you looking at the US data over here, especially the futures market, we do see that US 30 up 0.18%, US 500 0.14%, US 500 up 0.14%, and US Tech 100 up 0.06% over here. So extremely positive data. This is mostly due to that Fed rate cut decision data that recently came out. So all markets looking extremely bullish over there. Everybody reacting in a positive way. So that is also a possibility on the upside. So let's get into the view for today, guys. We do see a hammer formation in the daily time frame. Looking at the daily time frame here, but looking at it from the PCR perspective, we do see that it is at neutral level. So there is still move for it to move up on the upside. It's not getting to those oversold levels anytime soon. But looking at other indicators and other perspectives, the market is kind of making that overbought sort of levels where it is kind of topping out at the top, but there could be chances where it could stay overbought from quite some time until we hit this all-time high here. So again, the main thing is to keep that 25 400 level, as we talked about, respected. 25 400, 25 350 levels, as long as those are respected and we're closing, making that higher and high formation, we should be great. But keeping that in mind, it is a buy on dip market, and the most important thing is to trade your setup, guys. Don't trade the view, trade one index, trade one time frame, and don't trade your emotions. So hope you guys have a great trading day. See you guys tomorrow for the view.